This is DeathyMap here. I am here to show off my original deck in real life. It is kind of outdated and I have come up with a better one since then, but this is just a frame of reference. The first card here is Swords of Revealing Light for stalling purposes, of which we have two of, along with a Scrap Iron Scarecrow. Actually, a couple of those. Also for stalling purposes. We have Mirror Force, and Mirror Force, along with two Wall of Thorns. Those are used as a field wipe when an opponent's enemy monster attacks. It destroys all face-up monsters. Wall of Thorns does the same thing as Mirror Force, but it can only be activated when an opponent's monster attacks a face-up plant monster, which is kind of what this deck is built around, plant monsters. Of course, we have Mythical Space Typhoon and Polynosis, along with Rose Archer. These 6 cards are used to disrupt traps and spells and other similar effects. We have my Miracle Fertilizer, which is used to bring back plants once per turn, which is a very powerful card, integral to my deck. But we also have Mark of the Rose, which will, it's basically Chains of Heart, but you need to banish one plant monster from your graveyard, and it only controls your the enemy monster during your turn. When it comes to their turn, they get control back. However, this goes throughout as long as this card is on the field, or that monster is on the field. So each turn the monster swaps sides. We have 2 of those. And then we have the monsters. Copy Plant, one of my tuners, which is used to synchro summon. Can copy a level of any monster that's plant on the field, as long as it's your side, I believe. We have a couple of those. We have Naturia Cosmobeat, which can be special summoned if the opponent summons or sets a monster. Naturia Rose Whip, which is a very decently defensed 3-star tuner monster with a great effect. Your opponent can activate a spell or trap only once per turn. And then we have Twilight Rose Knight, which allows me to special summon a plant that's 4 stars or less from the hand if this card is normal summoned, which is a very easy way to get Black Rose Dragon. As such, we also have Rose Lover, which is a card that when in the graveyard you can banish it to special summon any plant monster from your hand. And I do mean any. We have the bread and butter of my deck, Lone Fire Blossom. Once per turn you contribute 1 face-up plant monster. Special summon 1 plant type monster from your deck. So if you summon this monster, you basically have a free powerhouse on your side of the field. And of course I have 3 of those in my deck. Next we have Rose Witch, a standard 4-star monster that can be used as 2 tributes if summoning a plant monster. However, it's not really something that I do that often. Mostly have it for its good stat, the good level, and the effect is useful when needed. And I have 3 of those. And then we have Botanical Lion, which gains 300 attack for each plant type monster on the field. Oh, each plant type monster you control, sorry. Which gives it basically a free 1900 attack points right off the bat. And with the more plants you control, the tougher it gets to come down. It's also a 4-star monster. And I have 2 of those. Next is Fallen Angels Roses, which can be special summoned with any plant on the field by returning that plant to your hand. So if you start the duel with this card in your hand, along with, say, Copy Plant, you can summon Copy Plant, return that to your hand, and then special summon Fallen Angel of Roses. However, when it leaves the field, it gets banished. And I have 2 of those. Finally, we have the princesses. Marina, Princess of Sunflowers. If exactly one other plant type monster you control, and no other cards, is destroyed by battle or by card effects and sent to the graveyard, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy that target. This card must be face up on the field to activate and to resolve this effect. 2800 attack. We have Cherubime, Princess of Autumn Leaves. Your opponent cannot target face up plant monsters for attacks, except this one. Sorry. If this card in your possession is sent to your graveyard by your opponent's card, either by battle or by card effect, you can special summon one plant type monster from your deck, except Cherubime, Princess of Autumn Leaves. 1800 attack, 2800 defense. Titanial, Princess of Camellias. During either player's turn, when a card or effect that targets a card or multiple cards on the field is activated, you contribute one face-up plant-type monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. 2800 attack, 2600 defense. And finally, Talia, Princess of Cherry Blossoms. This card gains 100 attack for each plant-type monster you control. Other plant-type monsters on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects. These 4 cards are the entire reason that I have built my deck. They each have powerful effects that work off of each other extremely well, and with Lone Fire Blossom I can bring them out very, very easily. If you have an entire field of these plants, it's pretty tough to deal with. Not impossible. And this is under the mind of a casual player who doesn't understand a lot of the things, but still. So, those are the cards in my main deck. Now we have the extra deck, which is kind of basic. We have Stardust Dragon, which is good for negating effects of spell, traps, or effect monsters. It's not the most useful card in my deck, but it is the most versatile, I think is the right word, but I never really have a chance of bringing it out that easily. We have Splendid Rose, a pretty good synchro monster if you have 2 3-stars on the field or other stuff. It's pretty good for decreasing the attack of a very powerful monster. And it can attack twice, but at the cost of half its attack points. Black Rose Dragon, the synchro of my deck. When synchro summoned, you can destroy all cards on the field, including itself. It is a field nuke. All traps, all monsters. Unless you have something like Talia protecting your cards from card effects. Sadly, Talia herself is not protected from card effects. So, say you have all 4 princesses and Black Rose Dragons somehow on your field, and you use Black Rose Dragon's well, if you synchro summon Black Rose Dragon, this is a complete nonsensical scenario, but still. You would still have 3 of your other princesses, and the opponent's field would have nothing. However, its other effect is that you can banish 1 plant-type monster from your graveyard. Then you can target 1 defense position monster your opponent controls, change that target to a face-up attack position, and if you do, its attack becomes 0 until the end of the turn. Excellent for defeating walls and forcing the opponent to play a little bit more offensively. And I have 3 of those in my deck. Some new additions to my extra deck are Garden Rose Maiden, a 5-star synchro monster. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 black garden from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which does not apply to me. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Rose Dragon monster or 1 Dragon Synchro monster in your graveyard, special summon it. That is a decent effect if you have Black Rose Dragon. And I have 2 of those. It's also a very pretty card, so there's that too. I believe this is one of the more newer ones. We have Aromaserafi, Rosemary, which is another 5-star synchro. While your life points is higher than your opponent's, all plant-type monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. Once per turn, if you gain life points, target 1 face-up card your opponent controls. That face-up card has its effects negated until the end of the turn. I don't exactly have any life points gaining cards in my deck. However, this is still a great effect. We have Aromaserafi Rosemary again. Sorry. We have 3 of those. And finally, we have Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. Now, this card may seem similar to Black Rose Dragon, but it has a completely different effect. Same stats, it's also a 7-star, meaning Twilight Rose Knight can bring it out extremely easily. However, if this card is special summoned, or a level 5 or higher monster is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field, target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls, return that card to the hand. You can only use this effect of Black Rose Moonlight Dragon once per turn. So say if your opponent special summons a powerhouse that you need to deal with, just special summon this. Or do something else, wait for them to special summon, and then you can return it to the hand. As far as I understand the effect. Now that is the first version of my deck, with a few additions and a couple of changes since I first came up with this deck.